Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and we've got a show today that I'm really interested in.
Yes, it's a good story.
It is a good story. Beth took the lead on this story because I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
Beth has got to take this story for me.
Right. It's a sad story, but a good story, and one you might not be familiar with. So it's
I bet nobody.
It's a railroad story. So
I bet there's not a lot of people
yeah,
familiar with it.
Probably not. Mm-hmm.
Probably not either.
Probably not.
Anyway, we got some cool pictures and all sorts of fun stuff. So,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So what's going on today? Anything good?
Well, not a lot really. It's just starting to be a little bit nicer weather out there, and I don't know.
I told you I have tulips coming up.
Oh, wow.
I've never planted tulips before, and I planted them. My little dog, Sassy, had to be put down a year ago in March, and so when that happened, I was devastated, so Jim bought me tulips. Well, you don't plant tulips in the spring. You plant them in the fall, but I went ahead and planted them anyway, and they are coming up.
Well, good.
I don't know. Must be good soil right there.
Are they blooming or just the greenery?
Well, it's just the little greens up about this much. I've never planted. I normally don't like flowers that just come and they're pretty and then leave me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want them to last.
I want my flowers to last. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping we have another good year. But
yeah, I hope so.
I don't know.
Well,
we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I like tulips. We have some in our backyard that I did not plant. The people before us planted. Apparently, at one point, someone that lived in my house prior to us and prior to the people that we bought it from were really into gardening and into their yard. And they had a lot of really pretty shrubs and bushes. And they were actually, the yard was full of flowers, and they were yard of the month with the Flora Garden Club. Then other people bought our house in between that, and they ripped out every single tree, every single bush, everything that was not a bulb. Aww. And there is nothing in my yard other than what I have planted, and then these tulips, these that still come up occasionally in the backyard, which is weird because they don't even come every year, and then these lilies that come up in the back too. Everything else I've planted. But what a shame for my yard that at one time it was yard of the month, and now somebody didn't like plants and they got rid of all of it.
See, I never did understand that. I like plants. I'm a big flower. I like plants. I've got,
Yeah.
And now I'm constantly, goodness sakes, with my grandkids, any type of little metal bug or anything. Yeah, Jack's like, yeah, we want that. You go, but so I've got all sorts of little trinkets. Actually, we've been into painting. I brought back a little turtle, solid concrete turtle, and Jack and JoJo, we painted it the other day.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, so we've been doing more painting. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of like, when I don't want them just to go crazy. I'm like that. Wait a minute.
You're trying to control it?
Yeah, I kind of controlled a little bit. So, I wanted the bottom part of the green, the turtle green, and then, his shell, just every color of the rainbow. So, Jack is painting this, and Joey's, she's 2, and Jim's, I didn't realize Jim was filming us. And so, we're at the table, and we're trying not to get paint everywhere. And we're doing that, and Joey, starts to take the green. And I went, no, baby, not there. Paint is his little feet, I'm like, no, Joe, we don't want that to be green. We want to make that all pretty colors. And so I didn't realize Jim was, and then he put it on Snapchat or whatever.
Oh, really?
And Connor, of course, we're on the Mac and Paige, and Jim and Connor and I were all on the same thing. And Connor put, did she just tell the princess no? Mac
she
was
did.
Like, she sure did. So I was like, oh, no, baby, not there. Not there. Paint right here. And Connor was in shock that I told Joanna no.
And Joanna's probably like, what just happened?
What just happened? She just went,
my yaya told me no. Well, it's recorded. It's a fact.
We were talking. It's never going. So there is proof that I tell them no. Mm-hmm. And apparently I'm a control freak with this.
Yeah.
Because we got some little magnets one time that you can just paint, and I didn't care. But this turtle's going to be on my back porch. I'm going to see every day.
Right, but you don't want it to be perfect either, because you want to look at it and be like, oh, that's so cute. My grandkids did that,
Well, I touched it up last night. It looks pretty good. Of course, I'm not as good as Jim, but yeah. So we're gonna start, and then Jack was like, "Yeah, this is great. We need to go to that place and buy concrete stuff all the time and paint it." So God only when
was it like Bullard's Nursery? They have concrete things. You could get
They
one.
do.
You could get a big not a Yeti. What do they call
The
those?
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch. You could get you a Sasquatch.
You know, I want a Sasquatch, right?
Paint him. Yeah,
I know. I want.
They
I want
also
a
have
Sasquatch.
here would be a really good one. I noticed yesterday when I went by there, they have a big concrete turkey. Great big turkey.
I love all
You
that
know how
stuff.
pretty turkey feathers are. You could be like, paint this one,
Yeah.
browns and blues, and there you go.
Yeah, I love
big,
all that stuff, and it's been fun for the kid because we did go outside a little bit, but it's still kind of chilly, and they had their mud boots on, and we played in snow, and then Jack decided to have a snowball fight, and but yeah, it was nice to sit in there and just let them, and they like doing that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So when you come over to my house this summer swimming, there's no telling what you're going to find.
Okay.
We've got a ginormous alien called Meatball Head out there too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you told me about the alien. Yeah, I'll look forward to meeting them.
Yeah, I want a dolphin, and I do want a Sasquatch. I love the ones where, Sasquatch. I don't know why I'm obsessed with that stuff.
There's a lot of people obsessed with Sasquatches.
I know.
They're everywhere all of a sudden. Like when I was a kid, it was like a legend, and no one decorated with Sasquatches, if that's a word in plural. But now it's like they're everywhere. Like everybody's like putting them in their yard, like wood cutouts, or they're concrete, or they're carved with a chainsaw. There's like all different ones.
Well, my sisters know that I want a Sasquatch. I'm not really sure I put him, but I'd like probably out by my outhouse.
I was getting ready to say she has an outhouse in her side yard. I'm like, you should have him peeking out from the outhouse.
I know, I may have to do that. And my sisters were like, "Ooh, let's go get," because I mean, 37 years of doing their hair for free, right? My sisters, they're like, this is funny. We should do something for Stacey. She wants a Sasquatch. So Linda went out to Bullard's, and there was like a 5-foot Sasquatch out there, total concrete. And they were like, "Ooh, that was like $700." I wasn't worth $700. So they were like,
well, and no offense, but a 5-foot Sasquatch is just that's
a
crazy.
little much. I just want a little. I want a 3 foot.
No, you need a full size one. There's no such thing as a 5-foot Sasquatch.
You don't think there's Sasquatch
No,
midgets?
you need a 9 to 10 foot Sasquatch is what you need.
God.
If you're not willing to go in all the way with 9 to 10 feet, then you don't need to go in at all. You need to be committed.
Well, what if that thing fell over on somebody? I'd get sued and kill you.
Maybe it would be better to do one that's a wood and one instead of concrete.
I don't know, because my alien Meatball Head is what Jack named him. He's wood painted. He's cute. He's doing the peace sign. It's great.
Yeah, maybe you need a wooden Sasquatch.
I don't know. I just like somebody. What was I doing the other day? I was driving somewhere, and somebody like on 12th Street there by the health department has a Sasquatch, kind of like peeking around a bush. It's just the cutest thing you've ever seen.
I like them. I think cute.
They're funny.
Yeah, I think they're funny too.
Who doesn't have a Sasquatch?
Talking about funny, what kind of ad do you have for us today? You got something funny? We always kick off the show with an old ad from the past. Last show we did something from the 80s.
Yeah,
what are we doing today?
This one's from the 80s too.
Oh, okay, good. I love the 80s.
Yeah, this is from the 80s too, which makes me feel really old because it's like old ads from my time era. So I picked this one because it's the 4-month curl that gave us a 10-year headache.
What?
I don't know.
We didn't know whether to break out a bottle of champagne or another bottle of aspirin when we finally did it. The longest lasting maximum curl possible, minus one important thing, damage you used to live with. Finally, Rave Performance Perm, a mere decade to give you what no one else can.
A perm that's full of glorious spotty and curl, curl, curl. A perm that's 4 months of manageability. A perm that has no odor. Lie. They stink. It's our curls that linger, not the smell. Wrong. Why the 10-year wait? You see, up until now, perms that curled a lot were full of harsh smelling chemicals that damaged a lot. If you knew just how much damage, you'd have waited too. How funny.
If not us, who?
If not us, who?
This is an ad with a lot of words, which is unusual.
Right? It's
because
kind of a weird.
Like they felt like they needed to write an article about it to really complete the thought, I guess. I think they could have done it with a few sentences.
Well, apparently Rave Perms in 1978 invented a no-frizz perm, which that's not, I mean.
That's what they called it, but that's not really what it did.
You get no frizz from the products you use, not the perm. You're going to have frizz if you don't put any type of foam or
Nice
gel.
guys really do finish last, it says. Sure, we could have given you a perm with maximum curl before the bicentennial, before you chose a L'Oreal or a Lilt or an Ogilvy perm, before you went gray. But that would also mean giving you damage, and we have to look in the mirror too. Man, they're throwing all their competition under the
really
bus. They
are.
called them by name and everything.
Oh, yeah. Our competition was tough. Nice guy. Yeah. Rave perm, performance perms.
And that curl that's focused in the middle, is that even a perm curl? That's from a curling iron.
That is a curling iron curl.
That is different than a perm curl.
Yeah, because like I said, being a hairdresser all these years, it's like when you do chemicals on your hair, you have disulfide bonds and hydrogen bonds. Disulfide bonds are broken down by chemicals. That's why you get that curl pattern that's on the rod, that's the S, where hydrogen bonds are broken down by water and heat. That's why it takes on two different bonds. You have three bonds in your hair. Salt bonds don't do anything, but the other ones are actually, so you cannot. People be like, oh, I curled my hair today. Can I get a perm like that? No.
I never understood that, though. Because it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, why can't you just curl your hair with a curling iron until you have that shape and then just squirt those chemicals on it and voila, it stays.
Well,
it's not that easy, is it?
Because those chemicals are going to because it's going to be wet and it's going to break down the hydrogen bonds and then it's just going to break it's just going to take it away.
Okay, well, there you
go.
go.
All that chemistry, that crazy chemistry. But yeah, are rave perms still around?
I wouldn't know. What do you know about them?
I don't never go down that aisle. So I don't know I bet rave perms aren't even around anymore. I think you could get Ogilvy's or whatever.
Is rave hairspray still a thing? Like back in the 90s, like I used rave hairspray. I mean, Aquanet was a big thing in the 80s and 90s, but rave was another really big name, and it was some strong stuff. Like you sprayed your hair with rave, it was not going anywhere. So you could attend a rave, and not have your hair messed up.
Aquanet was the 80s, rave was the 90s. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Ty, Google and see if rave perms are still in existence, rave products. I don't feel like they are. But I don't know. I haven't gone down those aisles in 37 years.
Yeah, I don't buy much of that stuff either.
I don't either, but I just thought it was an interesting ad.
Yeah, very cool.
But you're right. It was very wordy.
Yeah. They were heavy on the words.
Heavy on the words and nice guys. I'm not sure why bringing a frizz-free perm that really isn't frizz-free, it makes you a nice guy.
They're good people because they waited 10 years to bring this to us until the time was right.
Yeah, that's true.
And we should buy our products from them only because they are so nice.
Well, we're fixing to find out.
Yeah, that was their point.
Are they still in existence, Ty? No,
yep, Ty can't find them.
They don't exist.
They are gone.
And on that note,
we're
going to take a commercial break. Maybe it'll be a rave perm. Who knows?
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Jimmy Arnold Lumber. doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh, yeah. Give me all your guns, too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We are just kind of getting settled in, but we do have a fun show planned today. It's not really, I mean, it's fun, but it's sad. It's sad and it's interesting. So I'm not going to hype it up like, oh, you're going to love this. I mean, it's a tragedy that we're going to talk about, but I researched a bunch of stuff. I have several things here from the column that Rena Lentz Thomas used to write for the Hometown Journal called Piecing Together the Past, and she covered this story, which is in fact her article about it is framed, and in the second story of the depot, it's hanging on the wall where if you're in that room, the community room, you can go check it out and read it for yourself. And that's where it kind of caught my eye. I'm like, what's this about? And it has to do with railroad history. It's a tragedy that happened. But I will say, if you can see my paper here, that my daughter's kitten is very much attracted to our printer.
So you have a new kitten?
Well,
like a kitty, like a baby kitty?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, he's like 6 months old. He's huge. He's bigger than the rest of our cats.
Which
but he's
one
like
is
an
it?
annoying. He's at the annoying teenager stage. His name is Teddy Roosevelt.
So Teddy Roosevelt's the one that.
Yes, Teddy Roosevelt is.
That's the big gray one, right? That looks
black. He's black.
The big black
and
one.
And he loves the printer. So as soon as I send, and I can be in the living room and just like hit something on my phone that it will send to my printer to print, and then I'll go in there later when I'm ready and get it out of the printer. As soon as he hears that printer kick on, he takes off running for the printer, and then he like sits there and he waits and waits for the paper to come out, because he's like his mind is blown. Like, how is this happening? Like, I'm just sitting here and this paper is just coming at me. I don't know. I don't know how this works. So then he started where he kind of paused at it. Well, then I'll start printing something, and then my phone will send me a message that says, issue at the printer, you have a paper jam. I'm like, why would I have a paper jam? And then I go in there, and this, 10-pound black fat cat is sitting on the printer thing, the ledge or whatever, that the paper comes out, and all the papers are backed up in there. So
it's your
Teddy
fault.
Roosevelt is on my bad list today because of the and then I had to stick my hand up into the printer to dislodge the paper, which then got, and it's probably still stained, a black ink all over my hand. And then I was holding him in my other arm to keep him out of it, but somehow he also got his paw in black ink. So then I couldn't set him down on our floor, because then he would have stepped printer ink paw prints all through my house. And I didn't want that. So then him and I both had to leave the printer area, walk into the kitchen, where I proceeded to turn the water on. And that he immediately wound up out of my arm. So then he scratched me. But I was able to wash his paws under the kitchen sink, and he was very unhappy about that. But I think I got all of the ink off of him and I. And,
you have a love-hate relationship with Teddy Roosevelt.
I do. He's a super sweet cat. But yeah, this whole printer business.
That's weird. Mm-hmm. And you print a lot of stuff. You're going to have to figure something out here.
I know. I print stuff all the time, so I don't know what to do about him.
I can't bring my phone over to have you print stuff out for me. Not Teddy
we'll just put him in another room. The problem is that the printer is in my sewing room, and the sewing room doesn't have a door. It's just a kind of an open room. Otherwise, I'd shut the door and not let him in there. So that's probably what you're asking. Well, why don't you just shut the door? That room doesn't have a door. It's kind of open into the kitchen area. But anyway.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt, you're a bad cat.
Bad cat.
Bad cat.
All right. So
okay.
Tell what's happening.
Okay.
What am I doing?
Today we are going to talk about the tragedy that happened, and it actually did not happen in Clay County. It happened near Washington, Indiana, which is not that far from here. The year was 1913, and it affected people from Clay County because this was a B&O railroad disaster, and it was a lot of the people on the trains were from Clay County. So it's known as the Blue Hole disaster. So the newspaper headline for the morning after it happened read, "The people of Flora as well as all along the B&O Southwest line, were shocked beyond expression when it learned on Friday evening, March the 27th, that engine number 401 had plunged into what is known as the Blue Hole near Washington, Indiana. Okay, so what's the Blue Hole? Well, it's basically a really deep hole of water. The Blue Hole is a deep, sour hole west of Washington, Indiana, in the vicinity of Prairie Creek and the White River. Okay, so there was a big flood in 1875 that created this hole. Okay. So the river got out, and this big flood in 1875. So they had to build a train trestle to go across it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So at the time of the train wreck in 1913, Washington, Indiana was completely isolated from all of the surrounding towns due to rapidly rising floodwaters. So it was March. It was what we kind of refer to as the rainy season here in Clay County, where we get a lot of spring rains and the creeks and the rivers are flooded out of their banks. And Washington, Indiana had the White River, I think, on one side and these creeks on the other, and they had kind of gotten ice. The flooding was so bad they were cut off from all of the other towns. So the waters were rising to new heights. The B&O Southwestern Company were headed over there to make heroic and hectic efforts to save the roadbed west of Washington. So it says 100 men worked along the roadbed in an attempt to strengthen it with bags of sand. So they had sent a bunch of people over on the railroad to help this town that was about to be flooded.
Wow.
The town itself was about to be flooded, and they were trying to save it with sandbags, and they were able to save the roadway. So the Blue Hole Trestle was almost like a bridge, but with railroads they're called trestles, but that went over this area, and the tracks were across the trestle. I mean, growing up, did you go to the train trestles?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, us too. And it was always cool to like stand and like watch the train go underneath, which sometimes the road, I don't know, like the one I went to was truly a trestle. It was more like a road bridge that went over the railroad. Right. Trestles, I thought, were more like the train went over the road.
I think trestles were the train went over the road, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Or over any type, any type of, because that's like down at the quarry down there in the south end of town where those people drowned. That train, that's kind of what I think of that as it is, going over the top.
Yeah. So, okay, so what happened is that the old engine number 401 was going across this trestle while the floodwaters, this was at 11 p.m. at night. The floodwaters below were crazy. They were very rapid. They were rushing. And right as the train was going over, the flood took out the trestle. So it not the I don't know
the
structure of it. The water was too much, and it just took out those things holding it up, and
you just
knocked
think
it.
About that. You're talking wood. It's in water.
Because this was built in the late 1800s.
The water is force, and trains are tons and tons and tons of weight.
Oh yeah, it says the old engine number 401 let out a whistle, a little toot. The wheels turned over once, the bell sounded, and disaster struck. It sounded like a red-hot poker plunged into water when the boiler fire flooded and the boiler crown sizzled in the raging flood. The engine broke through the weakened bridge, and the front end went in onto the boxcar that it was pushing ahead. The man riding on the cow catcher was killed instantly. So the cow catcher, I'm not a railroad professional or expert, but I believe that to be the thing on the front of the engine that someone would sit on that would push cattle or deer or whatever off the track. I think that's what they're talking about. The plunge pulled cross ties and some of the rail off of the surviving portion of the structure. So some of it went in, but it was so much weight, it was pulling the railroad ties on top of it and the rail that was still up on the land in over the top of it. The engine, its tender, and a flat car were dumped into the raging waters at 11:04 p.m. on that dark night. 6 men were on the engine when it overturned and fell into the blue hole. 4 of them drowned in minutes. One man that was riding the flat car was plunged into the floodwaters but managed to save himself by swimming to the embankment and pulling himself up on the track. So he wasn't caught under anything.
No, because
he was in the flat car.
Yeah, so because you're talking, it's the trains are falling into this very deep hole, and so you're like, if you go in first and then the train's coming in after you, I mean, gosh, can you imagine how?
Yeah, let's take a picture. Let's take a look at one of the pictures from this
maybe we can
incident.
see a little bit more.
Okay,
oh my
so
gosh.
it's even hard to see what is what in this picture, but you can see that the trestle that is all wooden. It looks rickety as all get out to me.
I think so too.
But this is what they had for 18. I mean, what did I say it was built in? It was built
18.
Let's see, to 1870. No, the blue hole was created in 1875. But they had to have built the trestle not very long after that. I mean, there was only a matter of 30-some years between when that body of water was created and then the train accident.
Yeah, so the trestle definitely came after the blue hole was created.
Yeah, so there's their trestle. You can see there's still part of a train up there, but the rest of it is just totally. You can see the water in the bottom right portion of your photo there.
All that debris.
Yeah, and just debris everywhere. And I think that is the piece towards the bottom right hand corner that's sort of flat. I believe that to be the top of the flat car. Or top of the engine, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because it looks like you can see like the wheels where it would have been moving.
Yeah, okay, let's look at another picture too, Ty.
Wow.
Here we go.
Ooh-wee.
So this one's kind of a little bit different angle, but you can see, clearly where the water is, and clearly that everything is just sunk down into there, and you can see part of the train sticking up out of the mess.
Did you notice the two men in the bottom left-hand corner?
There's 2 men.
Wonder what they're thinking.
Yeah, they're thinking, I don't even know where to start to clean this up, and my heart is broken for those that were killed.
Was it a passenger train?
It was not.
It was not a passenger
train. No, it was
train.
a freight train. So those that were killed, we can maybe just put that picture up behind us, Ty, for a little bit. Those killed in the wreck were all from the Washington, Indiana area, but they were all well known to the Flora people because these guys all worked together. The B&O Railroad, they were a team. Some of them lived in Washington, Indiana. Some of them lived in Flora. Some of them lived in between. But it says the bodies of Yard Master Clifford McLemore and Fireman Reason Jackson were recovered on April the 20th, 24 days after the accident.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break and come right back.
Okay.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be.
Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend, and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're discussing the Blue Hole accident that happened near Washington, Indiana in 1913. It did not happen in Clay County, Illinois, but it affected a lot of people from Clay County, Illinois. It was a big deal. I was just saying before the break about those that were killed. I'll say again, the bodies of Yard Master Clifford McLemore and Fireman Reason Jackson, they were recovered on April the 20th. That's 24 days after the accident. Now, I can't imagine being a wife or a child or a mother of these men and the 24 days they still haven't found their body. I mean, because they were probably crushed under all of these tons of steel.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention that it was incredibly flooded.
Right, it was flooded, it was deep, and you've got a railroad on top of you. I can't even fathom it.
So there were 4 men total that were killed. The bodies of the other 2 men, day yard master D.L. Schaefer and engineer Theodore Garst, they were recovered on April the 24th, so even longer, 28 days.
Where was it traveling to? It was traveling to Indiana?
It was traveling to Washington, Indiana, I believe, to help with those sandbags or in that area. I don't know. It says all of the bodies were deeply embedded in the sand. So apparently they were pushed down, the weight of everything, into the sand. And a small piece of cloth left exposed by the receding floodwaters enabled the searchers to locate them. That was the only way they found them. There was one little piece of cloth that was sticking up.
Otherwise, they would have never. They
would have been lost forever.
They would have been lost because they would have buried in the sand.
They were buried so deeply down. I mean, they were not just pushed through the water; they were pushed down into the sand, basically buried there.
Buried there. Wow.
It does say that the loss of life was certainly the worst part of the tragedy, but the B&O Southwest, it had a lot of loss too. I mean, besides the loss sustained to its bridges, the tracks, its equipment, the locomotive number 401 was extremely damaged. It was found by professional divers on April the 6th of 1913, and eventually it was raised, repaired, and restored to service some 4 months later. And guess how much it cost to restore that train engine? In 1913.
In 1913?
$2,500. Which would have been a lot back then.
Back then.
Yeah. Let's see what else about this. They're lucky that that's only it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a ton more people that were killed. The Blue Hole, when that train started to go down, there was a coupling that broke between so the first thing that went in was the engine, and then then the car behind it went. That was a flat car, and then there was a coupling between it and the car behind it that broke.
Oh, that's how the whole train did.
That's how it did. If that coupling hadn't broke, there was 2 boxcars behind that, and there was 20 men in the rear boxcar. And it goes on to say that a greater power apparently had wanted them to live.
Wow.
But that is a direct quote from this man that we're going to talk about a little bit, named J.E. or Ed Heath. I think I have a picture of Mr. Heath. And let's see if yes, there we go. This is Ed Heath, and I have a copy of his handwritten, in his handwriting, account of what happened. He wrote this all out in 1963. He was the conductor on the work train that was following the engine that was on the trestle when it collapsed and fell into the White River in the Blue Hole. So even 50 years later, his memory of the whole ordeal was very vivid. And there was different railroad investigators that investigated it. There was a lot of people that, went to the crash site to try to figure out what happened exactly. So let me see if I can read some of what he said, because this is all in his own words. There was one man that had went down. His name was Dan Tulker. Again, this is in his handwriting. And he was able to get loose of the debris, and he floated with the tide water and landed in a treetop, clinging onto the branches until his clothes were frozen to the boughs. And the rescue men had to literally cut them from the tree limbs when the rescue men came from Maysville in a boat to rescue them. And he goes on to say that many more lives would have been lost if that coupling had not broken behind engine number 4. Let's see what else he said. So he was in a work train that was following that train, and he gave a signal that started them to go back to the shops as they approached the Blue Hole trestle, and it collapsed. I'm unsure if he meant that he gave a signal for them to stop before they got to the trestle and they didn't get it in time, or if he, I don't understand what he means by that exactly. But they were unable to do anything but rescue men. So there was men that were calling for help as they drifted out of sight. Let's see. There was it says, as we neared the White River Bridge, it collapsed and tumbled down, and we were lucky that we missed being dumped in the river. It was a terrible night after both the Blue Hole and White River bridges tumbled in, and we were cut off from the rest of the world. He was rescued by a boat the next morning at 8:30 a.m. So he was in an area that was already cut off by the flood waters. He was in the train right behind the first train that went down. But it's my understanding that not only did the Blue Hole trestle collapse, but there was a bridge also, which almost looked like a bridge in that one photo.
That one did look like a bridge.
Let's go back to that other picture.
It did look like a bridge.
Yeah. So
the picture right before that one.
Yeah. So
the other
so
one.
that one's definitely the trestle.
This
one looks like there was a bridge maybe running.
It almost looks like the bridges like over at Clay City,
the old bridges. Well, it collapsed as well. It collapsed as well. So there was 2 things that went into the water. And all of that in the pitch dark. And although it was
freezing,
the end of, it was freezing. It's the end of March, but we've talked about weather in March can still be really cold, especially, gosh, if you are, out in the wind.
And it was nighttime, so there was no sunshine. It was night. Yeah, and nobody would have seen it coming. You would have just,
Yeah. Did I send in any other pictures, Ty, or was that it? Okay,
wow.
Here's another view of it. Yeah. So I don't know what that, the brick or stone, whatever, if that was just the other half of the bridge.
I feel like that was
holding
probably
it
the other
up.
half of the bridge that was the part that's on land.
Yeah, and then there's a man up there looking it over.
Look how small he looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that's what that is. And I don't know what that little building is to the left of it.
Yeah, I don't.
That little house.
I don't know either.
That was a very interesting picture. Wonder where who took the pictures.
I don't know. I don't know. Was there any other? Okay, let's take a look at those. This is This is attached to Rena's article. I don't think that these men were not at the Blue Hole accident, but these were men from the same time period. This is the crew of some of the B&O Railroad, and I don't know that any of these men were the ones that passed away. I don't have that documented. And is there another one too of some crew? Yeah. Okay. So this is actually taken inside the Roundhouse in Flora. Second from the right is Ora Guyot. He was a Flora man. That's the only name I have out of those. But the Roundhouse burnt down in 1954, somewhere around that time.
Right around the centennial.
It was located across on the other side of Blue Mound, across from where the depot is. And it was, if you've ever watched Thomas the Train, that's where I learned about roundhouses. Everything I know about roundhouses came from Thomas the Train, watching that with my kids. But it was a true roundhouse where the trains could turn around. And that was taken in there. So Rena just included some pictures
of the workers
around the same time. Let's see what else. The railroad police, the railroad had their own police department that investigated this.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How interesting. She's trying to, the print on this is tiny.
Yeah, it's really little. I think she goes on to talk about other cases the police, the railroad police investigated. She's kind of, that part doesn't pertain
to the.
Yeah. So that's kind of the story there of what happened with the Blue Hole accident. And again, it's in Washington, Indiana, so it wasn't Flora or Clay County, but we kind of do our whole viewing area. It doesn't have to be limited to Clay County, but it did affect a lot of people from Clay County because they all worked together with the B&O Railroad, which was one of the main employers in Flora at the time. And just super sad. And
it is crazy.
And it,
but at the same time, it could have been so much worse.
It could have been. And I wonder if that tragedy led to improvements of the bridges and the trestles in other places and how they were built, and that maybe there was enough technology by that time to improve their designs,
right? That
they could go back and make them more structurally ready for a flood. I mean, I do think that was a really big flood, but I haven't heard of that happening in my lifetime, anything like that. So maybe now that they're built to withstand floodwaters that are raging below.
Well, yeah, because you're talking, it's wooden, and who knows how long. I mean, it's built over that river and rushing water and the weight of trains. It's shocking to me that it can even.
Yeah, because looking at that picture, it looked really rickety, didn't it?
It looked, it looked like a roller coaster.
Yeah, it did. It looked like something from Holiday World. And I would have been nervous every time I went over that thing. Oh, yeah. But those railroad men were tough. They probably didn't think anything of it. They were probably like, I've been over this 50 times. It's fine.
Probably.
And then one time, just poof, there you go.
Yeah, it's like the infrastructure. I mean, it all changes. But we'll be right back after a commercial break.
Okay.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Roll King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Roll King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We just finished talking about the Blue Hole Railroad accident that not very many people probably know about. No, so that was interesting.
I had never heard about it till you.
Yeah, I hadn't read. I didn't know about it until I read Rena's article.
Yeah, and you know it's important for people to understand. You know, go into the depot. You can go. There's a lady that works inside the depot for the chamber. It's always open. You can find so much.
Oh yeah, it's not all railroad history either.
All,
it's everything of Clay County,
it's
but there is railroad.
History.
Yeah,
it is amazing history. And like I said, you don't think that we're going to be touched by it, but yeah, absolutely did. Yeah, you don't realize all that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. What do you have for us today?
Okay, so I told you that my friend Paula Cooper, her mother Pat, passed away.
Yes.
So we've been cleaning out her house, and I found a ginormous plastic tote of papers from the hometown journal.
Oh, right, yes.
So I have been going through there. Said that about a while back, you know. And I don't know. I kept a lot of really interesting things from the Cornerstone that Bill Oliver did, and I forgot that Linda Davidson from Sailor Springs.
Oh yeah,
had a little column called
Back Then
in Sailor Springs.
Yep.
And my love affair with Sailor Springs.
Yep.
And but anyway, so I thought, well, this would be like when we finish up a show, if we have a little, you can't do a whole show on it, but it's just interesting.
Just little tidbits. What's she write about?
Let's read about this. Back then, in Sailor Springs, at the schoolhouse and all the other little one-room country schools, early spring brought marble players. Some of the kids were experts at playing marble games. The children were very proud of their little bags of marbles. They also had good shooters. The children drew circles in the dirt and put their marbles to the test. The marble games were a very popular sport during recess and lunch period. Some of the children kept their prized marbles or agates in little wood boxes.
Oh my.
Okay, so did you ever play with marbles?
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
I
did not play with marbles. I did at one point. Someone gave me like a marble bag, a little velveteen sort of bag that had marbles in it. And I was like, "Thank you." And then I was like, "What in the heck? What do you do with these?"
So yeah,
I didn't know how to play marbles. They were very pretty. I would hold them up and admire the colors going through them.
Right. Put them in vases. I
left them in my little velvet bag. I didn't know what to do with them. I don't know a thing about playing marbles. I've seen it on TV. I've seen people play marbles on TV. Probably Little House on the Prairie.
I'm sure.
Or Downton Abbey. I don't know where they were playing marbles, but somebody
was. I was a Jacks girl. I still like to.
Oh yeah, I don't know anything about Jacks either.
Oh, you throw them Jacks down, then you bounce the ball, and you pick up one Jack.
Oh, okay.
And then you pick up two Jacks. Oh. So you're bouncing the ball. Oh, I love Jacks.
Okay.
Jacks are great, but I don't know anything about marbles. Okay. But maybe Linda Davidson's going to teach us a little bit.
Okay.
The shooters were bigger and in different colors, and some were solid colors. There also were steelies. They were prized as much as shooters. The children would show off their collection of shooters, steelies, and pretty marbles if different designs. Everyone remembers the good old days at school and the marbles that were a part of their everyday games.
So when she says shooter, I can picture that. I think I had a shooter, and it was solid white. It was a marble that was like that big. It's big. I think that's what a shooter is.
So what's the shooter doing? You knocking other marbles out of the way?
Are you playing like pool? Like or something kind
And
of.
did
But
they,
with,
if I remember, like who was the Laura Ingalls' brother and the mean kid, Nellie Olson's?
oh, you're talking about Willie Olson?
Willie Olson. I mean, I feel like they kind of flicked him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Somebody out there is screaming at the screen right now telling us how.
How to play marbles. Today, people everywhere collect beautiful marbles. That is true. I've been at auctions, and a tub of marbles will go for a
They go
fortune.
high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have all kinds of marbles and wonderful collections. They can be found and purchased at auctions, and antique shops have them. You can buy them at stores, but it seems they aren't the rare designs and colors. The fancy designs and the swirls of the color that you could buy back then, we've all seen some very pretty marbles. As springtime arrived at the schools, it would be time for baby chicks and bunnies. Easter was a joyous holiday for the children at school. The teachers helped the children cut out eggs, bunnies, and chicks from construction paper. I love Easter. It's my favorite. I know it's not yours.
I'm like, good for you.
I love Easter. It's my favorite. Then they would place them above blackboards, put the children's name on them, and stick them to the windows. It would look pretty and spring-like in the schoolrooms. Some of the children would bring little baby chicks and bunnies to school for their schoolmates to pet and watch.
Oh, God.
This
Oh, my
would be
gosh.
a special day for the children. Did you ever have show and tell at school?
We had show and tell, but nobody brought live animals.
I don't remember.
Let me bring this baby chick and pass it around to where
love-
it dies because everybody's wallered it to death. Let's do that. That'll be fun.
I know, but little baby bunnies are so cute. Oh, Beth. Well, these children.
I feel
didn't-
bad for the animals. They don't want to be there.
They don't want to be there. That would be groped by kindergarten
No.
children.
Not at all.
The teachers would help the children dye eggs. Oh, that's a funny story. One time back when I was younger, we didn't have plastic eggs that you filled with candy. We actually had boiled eggs and did that. And one year, I'll never forget, one Easter, it was really nasty outside, and so the Easter bunny hid the eggs in my house, and my mother was like about died because the Easter bunny like hid a dozen eggs and only 11 were. So there was a real egg in our house lost.
Well, at least it was hard boiled. Did you find it eventually?
I can't remember, but my mother, I remember being panicked because she thought we were going to have a rotten egg somewhere. So that they were they would be very colorful and pretty. The children would dye eggs at home in different ways back then. Onion skins wrapped around the eggs and tied, boiled for a long time. This procedure made beautiful golden eggs.
What? Onion skin?
That's what she said.
So, like, if you bought a yellow onion and took the skin off of it and tied it around your egg and boiled it, you'd have a
Apparently,
golden egg?
A golden egg.
I kind of want to try that.
Right? Ink made pretty blue eggs. There were all kinds of ways to make pretty eggs, and there were big egg hunts at school.
They dyed them with ink?
Uh-huh.
And then I bet they ate them.
Ugh. The teacher hid the eggs. The children hid their faces on their school desk. The teachers hid the eggs. How many eyes do you think were popping up?
All of them.
Several children would raise their heads, open their eyes, and take a peek, trying to look out the window and watch where their teacher was hiding the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
They would be quick to put their heads down as the teacher appeared near the window. When the teacher was ready, she would come back inside. She would ask the children to raise their heads, pick up their baskets, and file outside in an orderly fashion. Once outside, it was hard to keep the children quiet. Yeah, have you ever been to an Easter egg hunt?
Yeah, why would you want to keep them quiet? This is their fun time.
Well, and these kids are looking for hard-boiled eggs. We're looking for Snickers now.
Yeah.
And money, probably. When everyone was ready, she would blow the whistle. This was the cue to begin hunting the eggs. Children running everywhere, looking in the grass, behind trees and under rocks for pretty eggs. Prizes were awarded for the most found eggs, the goose egg, the golden egg, and several different kinds of eggs. The children would eat some of the boiled eggs. Some took eggs home and kept them until Easter morning. Victorian bunnies and delicate eggs are quite the thing to collect today. so pretty in design. Baskets filled with grass of all colors and pretty stuffed bunnies. Easter flowers blooming at springtime. Spring is in the air at Sailor Springs and everywhere. See, that was a good article to read today. Since we're knocking on the door at spring, and I was telling you, my tulips are blooming. How do you not love Easter?
I just don't. It's cold, and I don't love it. I don't like the stress of having to dress everyone up for it, and the outfits, and it's just, I don't know. I just don't like it.
I love Easter. It's my favorite holiday. I like it because we do ginormous Easter egg hunts at my house. I do not only for kids, but like my kids are like in their 30s, and I put stuff out there. I put lottery tickets out.
That's awesome.
I put lottery tickets out. I put candle. I decorate. The whole entire yard. All 4 or 5 of my yards are just full of eggs. It gets to the point where you just got to throw them down the ground.
Yeah.
Because you can't. And I don't like it when Easter's in March. I prefer it to be in April.
Yeah.
But one time it was hot on Easter, and I put this ginormous bunny. By the time we found it, half his face was melted.
That's funny.
It was. And it was a big bunny.
Yeah.
It was in the sun. So half my bunny lost his face.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
All right, so here we go. Okay, let's look at this one.
Words to live by or a famous quote.
This is by an unknown person.
Okay, they didn't want to claim it.
No. Too many talented people string and unstring their instruments without ever playing their music.
What? Well, how do you take that?
Too many talented people string and unstring their instruments without ever playing their music. To me, that means they're just they're wasting their gifts.
They just
talent. They're almost, it's almost like a scared thing because if I keep restringing this or if I keep messing with my instrument, you're not. It's a lack of confidence. To me.
I can see that.
Instead of just picking it up and playing,
just doing it.
Sometimes you just got without.
They want to think about it and dream about it, but they don't act on it.
They don't act on it. To me, it's like without ever playing their music, it's like they want everything to be so perfect that they're
right.
letting,
Nothing's ever perfect.
Nothing's ever perfect.
Nope.
Yeah, that was by an unknown.
Well, that was a pretty good one. I like it.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, that was good. So.
Not too
moving on. Moving on. As always, we're on Channel 100 Wabash Television. You can find us there daily at 11 a.m. If you can't catch us on Wabash, our episodes are on YouTube. By the way, with Beth and Stacey is our YouTube channel, and you just need to type that into the homepage, and our channel will come up. And you can like and follow us on Facebook. We would love to have you over there. By the way, with Beth and Stacey is our Facebook page. And if you want to say anything, give us a tip, a comment, a story idea, a correction, whatever.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, send us an email at bytheway@bethandstacey@gmail.com. Those are the best ways to get a hold of us. And if you enjoy Clay County history, tell other people how much you enjoy it and have them watch our show too, because there's a lot of people I talk to that don't even live in Clay County but enjoy our show because they have ties to Clay County and they miss it.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, it's fun. So, and you never know, we might do a story on your family.
That's right. Yeah, everyone has a story. We've said that over and over.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You have a story. Your family has a story. And right now I'm digging into one of my family stories that we're going to cover in a few weeks.
That's right.
And it's a good one. So anyway.
Yeah. It's fun to cover family stories too.
Oh, yeah.
I like covering family stories. Anyway,
me too.
That's it.
That's it for today. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
God bless you and have a great day.